Hello, we are back to Dr. Prasad's office in Fremont, California. We are here today to continue Dr. Prasad's teachings and explanations on main topic of Bhagavad Gita, on one of the main topics, which is Karma Yoga. And Dr. Prasad has prepared part 2 for us today. So we are continuing on the basic question of the meaning of Karma Yoga in today's lives and the importance of Karma Yoga and how non-religious people can follow its practice. So here's the question.
So we already discussed the definition of Karma Yoga and the importance of Karma Yoga, and now today we are going to conclude the third series of the Karma Yoga. We have already had part 1 and 2, and now we are going to do part 3. And so far we discussed that Karma Yoga removes your ignorance, and then once the ignorance is removed, then you get knowledge, what we call self-knowledge, Atma-Gyan, knowledge of the self, who you are, that's the knowledge, who you are, what is world, what is the relation between the creator and the creation. These are all this part of the self-knowledge, and it's not very difficult. It sounds a self-knowledge, oh, it is difficult. So, but it's not difficult at all if you know the basics. So that Karma Yoga is the starting point. It burns all your past karma. In other words, when you have all the karma you have accumulated in life after life, you have to exhaust it by Gyan, knowledge. Karma Yoga gives you the knowledge which burns all your past karma, because otherwise those karma you will have to suffer it, you will have to enjoy it, or you have to exhaust it, we call it. So there is plenty of them, and you create every time you do certain things, you accumulate more karma. But then when you know Karma Yoga, selfish action, then you don't accumulate any karma. In other words, whatever you do, it just does not count as a karma. It becomes akarma, means actionless. In other words, you are doing action, but you are actionless. You are thinking that you are not doing the action. All Mother Nature is doing all the work, using you as an instrument, using your body, using your mind. She is doing it, and you are just the instrument. So that way you don't take any burden of karma, you don't create any new karma. And that's what is called Yoga Karmashu Kausalam. We discussed this, doing the work the right way. Right way means that you do the work, but you don't get any binding, don't get any bad reaction, good or bad reaction out of it. In other words, you just do it because you are doing it for selfish, without any selfish motive, see. So that burns all. So when you get this knowledge that Mother Nature is doing all the thing, then then all your karma is not accumulated anymore, whatever new karma you do. Otherwise it's a vicious cycle. You do anything, and if you have a selfish motive, if you are doing it for yourself, then you get karma, good or bad, You did bad karma, then you get bad, you do bad work, then you get bad karma. You do good work, then you get good karma, but you get something. But then you have, similarly we have accumulated this lots of karma in our life after life. We don't know how long we have been in this planet, on this planet. So we have to exhaust all our past karma. So this is the self-knowledge burns everything. It's just like a ton of cotton ball. You just put one matches, and you don't have to put anything else. It burns the cotton right away in a couple of seconds. The whole cotton is burned. Similarly, all your load of karma gets burned by the self-knowledge. And when you have karma, when you are doing the karma, that is the past karma. It burns all your past karma. And then you are doing karma, then it will be again keep on accumulating, because it keeps on adding more. Anything you do, it adds as a karma. So past karma is born by the self-knowledge, And the present karma which you are doing, it doesn't create any new karma. In other words, it's not counted in your book of karma that you are doing anything, because you are doing selflessly. You are doing it, for the society, for the others, So this karma yoga is kind of a very important part in a spiritual life, and it not only burns all your past karma, but it burns all your bad qualities: lust, anger, greed, pride, attachment, jealousy, all these enemies, we call it demons, all this devil within you. It is said, I think we mentioned it before, that you have to subdue the devil within you, because these are the devil, they will take you to the wrong path. So it kills all these bad devils. It kills all your bad karma, it burns all your past karma. That's why the knowledge is called fire, fire of knowledge. It burns all and the bad qualities, you try to get rid of bad qualities like lust, anger, greed, all these bad qualities, try to get rid of it, but it's very hard. It will keep on coming at you. So the Arjuna asked how we can get rid of all these things. So he says, by practice. In other words, you practice karma yoga. You practice, selfless service. Abhyas and vairagya means you have to have the knowledge. Both. If you just practice, nothing will happen. It will come back again. It's just like you cut the weed, unless you kill from the root, take the root out, the weed will come again. So the weed of all these devil, bad quality will come up again. So you have to have practice. Okay, I'm going to get rid of it. Be very aware of your weaknesses and bad things you have in your... Everybody has it, so don't worry. So practice and then knowledge. Knowledge, these two combined, they will kill. The knowledge kind of takes the weed out of, so that it will not grow up again. But if you just practice meditation, do everything, but you don't have the self-knowledge, then those things weed will come again. So it also not only burns the past karma, but it gets rid of all your bad qualities. Slowly, it takes time. It's just going to do it in a day, in a life or something, maybe life after life, okay? That we have to understand. And so karma yoga is non-sectarian. You don't have to believe in God. You just think that you are doing service to society. But later on, if you grow more, in the beginning we are all, we don't believe in God, because a child doesn't know what is God. They just trust by faith that, okay, there is a God. But then when we grow, then maybe we think that there is a God, and then when you bring the God in picture in your karma, in your work, whatever you do, bring God, that, okay, I'm not doing it for society, but I'm serving the God in the form of society. So we bring God into picture. And once the God into picture comes, then it becomes devotion. See? So you have to have, for devotion, you have to have a God, a deity, or whatever God you believe in. Doesn't matter, whatever religion you believe in, the God. God is only one, right? No matter what is the religion, whatever is your religion. So the karma yoga can be practiced in the beginning by a person even who doesn't want to believe in God, because he is not ready to believe in God. To believe in God is it takes a little bit good karma, you see. And also the karma yoga, like we discussed, that no new karmic bond will be created, you see. When you are doing, no new karmic bond is created, and the old karma is bound up by the knowledge. So the knowledge combined with this karma yoga, karma yoga is the first stage, then comes the knowledge, you see. So when you have the knowledge, then you become, a real karma yogi. In other words, karma yogi with the knowledge is the fullness of the karma yoga, you see. So knowledge is the upper limit of karma yoga. You start with karma yoga, start the children, you tell them that you help your parents, help your teacher, help your mother, help your brothers, and help the neighbors, help your classmates, help, So children start with that karma yoga, and then as you grow, when you become mature, when you become, 50, 60, or sometimes, then your knowledge will start to come. The Lord will give you the knowledge. So it purifies. Self-knowledge burns all the karma and it leads you to the nirvana. Because once your all karma is finished, then you have nothing to do. So what you call, you attain nirvana, you see. So actually, karma yoga, people do karma yoga for the purification of their psyche. In other words, get rid of the devil in you. And once the devil is clean, then the knowledge shines up, and then you become a yogi and a jnani, and a very... So Lord Krishna, in the end of the Gita, Sanjay summarized this thing, that both is necessary. Karma yoga is necessary and the knowledge is necessary. Anybody who says only knowledge or only karma yoga, and of course bhakti and devotion becomes part of the karma. So the karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. So in the end it becomes actually 3 paths, and all 3 are complementary to each other. So if anybody tells you the one path will lead you, then it is not. It's all helping. All the 3 paths you have to try, and you have to practice little bit this, little bit that, and then you become a full person. That's said in the last verse of the Gita. Sanjay gives this commentary that Lord Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna and wherever there is Krishna, Krishna means the knowledge, Arjuna means duty, and both, and that's when you have everything. You have peace, happiness, prosperity, and everything you have, and you are a full person. You are a very nice person, and that's the conclusion of the Karma Yoga. And next topic we are going to start in different paths of yoga.
Thank you very much.